Good afternoon and welcome to this service honoring and enjoying the life of Fugate. Brock was a longtime member here at Beaumont Presbyterian Church, which most of you would probably know, but you may not know that he first came here because his daughter Christine asked if he would come for her Christmas present in 1979. He believed, I think, in that principle that says, learn to love what those you love, love. And his daughter loved church, and so he learned to love church. And not only became a longtime member, but also a deacon, a Sunday school teacher, an integral part of this place. And so it's a real honor to get to have this service here today. The family welcomes you being a part of this service together today. Would you pray with me? Dearest God, our Creator and Redeemer, you are our strength and our hope. Thank you for the beautiful life of Brock Fugate. Thank you for his family and for the joy of remembrance. Thank you for this time together and for your love that binds us all together. Bless us now here as we celebrate Brock's life. In joy and in sorrow we pray. Amen. We're going to sing together. It's hymn number 20 if you want to look at it in the hymnal. If you want to just read it from the words, sing it from the words, it's in your bulletin. Would you rise in body or spirit as we sing together?
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. My family and I are really grateful that you're here to celebrate the life of Dad. Before I say my piece, I just wanted to say thank you to my sister Christine for organizing this event and making it happen. And thank you to Beaumont Presbyterian for having us. It means a lot to us that we're celebrating Dad's life in a place where he spent so much time as a congregant, a deacon, an elder, and a Sunday school teacher. All through my childhood, Dad provided and received a lot of support within this church. So it's only fitting that we're here all these years later. Some things come back around if enough time goes by. I would guess that most of you knew my dad for a while, but you didn't have to know him for very long to notice something important about him, that he was old school. He had old school manners, and I mean very old school. He stood up when a woman entered the room. He took off his hat indoors. He said a person's name when he greeted them. And he used the words please, thank you, and you're welcome with unbreakable enthusiasm. He also had old school values. He believed in integrity and honesty, humility, kindness, generosity, acceptance. His teaching especially embodied these values. At the beginning of each semester, he would tell his students, class is a place where it's okay to make mistakes. He would say to them, I've made more mistakes than all of you put together will ever make in your whole careers. He believed too in giving back to the community, helping those less fortunate, keeping his commitments. Even when it was inconvenient, he tried hard to do the right thing. And usually the right thing boiled down to this one rule: treating each and every person with dignity, care, and respect. So he was old school, but he was also ahead of his time. In the 1960s, much to the confusion of his friends, he had seat belts installed in his car. In the 1970s, he urged Mom to stop smoking, promising to take her to Australia if she succeeded, which she did. That same decade, he became a disciple of sunscreen and gleefully foisted it on his loved ones. In the 1980s, he lobbied for better education in the public schools, and he ran for county school board. In the 1990s, before it was cool for men to call themselves feminist, he made it his mission to recruit 50% women to UK's graduate program in mathematics. In the 2000s, he supported gay marriage, and he gave money to candidates who supported it. And in the 89th year of his life, he hung an LGBTQ flag on the front of his and my mom's house to show his solidarity with a beloved friend and neighbor who had recently come out as transgender. Keep in mind that the same man who proudly displayed this flag was the same man who was born in the Great Depression, who listened to FDR on the radio, who, as a boy, helped his family grow a victory garden and collect scrap metal for US forces, who started college before his parents ever had a television. The irony, of course, is that he never saw any of his actions as being unusual, forward-thinking, or ahead of his time. He just thought he was doing the right thing. He was trying to treat each and every person with dignity, care, and respect. He was showing kindness, generosity, acceptance. In other words, old school. But some things do come back around if enough time goes by, but some things are simply timeless. And I like to think that Dad's approach to life is one of them. Thank you.
that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Tis grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace those fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
I think I can speak for everyone. That was beautiful. Thank you. My name is Ken Fugate. I'm Brock's nephew, son of Justice and Ann Fugate. Brock has many accomplishments and recognitions in his storied career as a service member, an engineer, a professor emeritus of mathematics, a deacon in the church, as well as many other things. Well, I'd like to add one more accolade, which many of you may be unaware, that Brock was also a highly successful podcaster. These programs were very exclusive. He had a target audience of one, his younger brother, Justice. So let's pick things up in the summer of 2020. My dad, Justice, was in hospice care, and it was at that time that he lost his ability to communicate. So also, if you recall, it was at that time when we were still in the midst of COVID, with all of its lockdowns and protocols for health facilities, which made care very difficult. Well, given that situation, Uncle Brock came up with an amazing approach. His exact words were, "Ken, I've got this. Call me tomorrow." So Brock then created what we might call today a podcast. It was a program. This was a man in his mid-80s harnessing new technology and Wi-Fi, video sharing and searching. Well, that next day, I gave Uncle Brock a call and connected him with his brother. Then he just started narrating. Current events, business topics, sports, covering Kentucky basketball and football, and he would throw in some news on the Wichita State Shockers since his brother Justice was an alum. Brock would tell a summary of a current book or an article that caught his attention. He would share updates and current events around his family, Christine and Marianne, and his grandchildren, Katerina and Sarah. Then he moved on recounting the many travels that our parents were blessed to share. England, Italy, Spain, Australia, Greece, and there were others. And this would go on well over an hour to a silent audience. But Brock never wavered. He was always ready. He was always able to have these calls. He was always prepared. at least a program once a week, many times more often. He kept this up month after month for his brother Justice. I'm sure Brock got part of his inspiration from his mother, Josephine Braucher Fugate, who lived past 100. But every day, by example, encouraged all of us to always keep learning and always work to make and keep new friends. I'm sure another source of his inspiration was from his sister Jane. Brock and Justice loved and admired Aunt Jane. She was compassionate and patient, and a balance for the methodical, analytical mind of Brock and the type A personality of their brother Justice. In the years after her passing, Brock and Justice grew closer, and they always ensured to apply their sister's perspective. And they had a phrase for it. It's, "What would Jane do?" So any circumstance or difficulty which arose, that's what would come to mind. Well, what I want to highlight is the impact that these calls had on his brother, even being 700 miles apart in the midst of the COVID lockdowns. When Uncle Brock's voice came over the phone, it was exactly like a slow wave of peace and contentment, starting at the top of Dad's head, traveling down his body. His face would relax, and he would just close his eyes with a contented smile, and he would settle in and listen to this program with his favorite host. It was such a one-of-a-kind treatment a doctor couldn't provide, money couldn't buy. It was fashioned from a lifetime of relationships with their parents, our grandparents, their sister, Jane, their families, and all the shared experiences building a bond between these brothers. So on behalf of my dad, please accept our gratitude and thank you, Brock, but also to his family for both who inspired him and provided all the material for these gracious programs and the support, which really made an immeasurable difference. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Whit. I get really emotional about Brock. Often when you hear people memorialized, there is an elevation of them, but there's no way to elevate the reality that was this man. He was everything that we are going and have said about him and much more. But I was reminded by old school of a story he told me that I didn't get down here about. I asked him, when did you move to Holly Springs? Tell me about that special house that I hope most of you have been to. And he said, well, Judy found it. And she said, let's go check it out. So we went over there, and it was certainly situated beautifully, and we walked in, and it had so much potential, and it certainly was impressive, but I had to turn to her and say, Judy, this is a $40,000 house. Okay. Wolf Creek begins as all streams begin in the air, drops at a time, onto grass, onto roofs, onto chicken coops and dog houses. Out toward Old Frankfort Pike, it joins Town Branch Creek, and then later the Elkhorn, the Kentucky River, the Ohio River, the Mississippi, and then the sea. But before its marriage to larger waters, it runs below Holly Springs Drive and below the window. Brock and Judy's beautiful picture window overlooking the landscape and the creek, the friendship window, the guest window, the reading window. It would be appropriate to Brock's spirit and to his love of science, and it would be appropriately rigorous to investigate and to report the Latin names of every tree, shrub, and flower one can see out that window, to tell you in what particular epoch the limestone bed beneath Wolf Creek was once a warm sea of calciferous beings. But that's not what I'm here to do. It would be appropriate and rigorous to tell you that the dimensions of an NCAA basketball court are 94 feet by 50 feet, that the rim must be exactly 120 inches above that floor, and that there are 5 men to a side. To survey and to report the precise and the exact are in Brock's nature, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to say, what do you mean you have a PhD in seventh dimensional space? Lord Brock's mind was amazing. At the end, when we had rekindled our friendship, I was always asking him questions. One exchange is memorable and I think emblematic of his mind and spirit. I don't remember why I brought up the world record long jump. When I knew he would soon be unable to get up and into my big truck, even with my help, I asked if he would like me to drive him through our beautiful countryside. He said yes. We drove out Newtown Pike and Ironworks Pike on a softly sunny and warm evening. We talked about athletics. We loved talking about athletics and athleticism, and the conversation wandered to the jump. He laughed. It was October 18th, he said, a Friday. I was studying in the basement of McLean Hall at the University of Iowa. It was me and Charlie Perkins. I made that name up. I don't have a memory like Brock. And one other fella. Someone came in saying, Bob Beeman jumped 29 feet, 4 inches, and 1/4. Charlie said, come on, let's go outside. I know where to get a measuring tape. We went out on the sidewalk and we measured it out exactly. Wow, we said, we could not fathom it. My buddies and I measured it exactly and we said, wow. The precision, the focus, the measurement, the degrees, the titles, the honors, all formidable. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here for the 2 chairs by the window. I am here for the deep recline into that chair of his, one big foot crossed over the knee, a bit of sock dangling off the toe. I'm here for ring, 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 hello? I'm here for the last days wearing a bicycle helmet with a little tortoiseshell visor. If I look stupid, I don't give a shit. I'm here for the saggy navy blue corduroy pants and the hand-labeled cardboard boxes in the basement. I'm here for Rupperina soft serve ice cream and for having to stop halfway up the stairs to our seats to lick it. I'm here for sneaking down to the good seats until the usher asks to see our tickets. I'm here for Brock's big, beautiful, shaking hands. Never has a shaking hand been such a steady hand. When has a deep, rough voice ever been so gentle? I've never known a better citizen. Brock loved an elegant idea, and no idea was more important or more elegant to him than citizenship. Basketball and good governance were our most common themes in conversation. Both involved being part of a team. Brock loved fairness, honesty, and responsibility, and he longed to actualize them until the end. Speaking of teams, I have a message for Kentucky head basketball coach Mark Pope from Brock. Let's just say it came to me via telepathic communication. Mark, so far so good. I love the energy. I love the positivity. I've got high hopes. But, and I can't emphasize this enough, it's not rebound, it's rebound, damn it! Okay. In the end, Brock had one primary concern. Will the girls understand how much I love them? Will they forgive me for being finished? And while we spoke, the spirits of Judy, Christy, Marianne, Katerina, and Sarah Jean were bright and present. Yes, I told them. They know and they understand. I wish I had profound last words to report, but the last thing he said to me, pointing with both hands up to the ceiling above his bed, was, "This place has too many point guards." But there's a message, even in that: share the ball. There are two things we can do when we don't get what we want. The first is try harder, and the second is to consider whether we are wanting the wrong thing. Tempting as it may be, I don't want Brock to come back. Wolf Creek indeed must roll on to the sea. What I want instead is for all of us to carry his spirit and to continue to be inspired by his curiosity and his humility. Love is not in the degrees and the titles. It is in the shaking hand that is pouring the wine, approximating the glass, the viscosity, the arc of the pour, the gravity. Knowledge is not love. Love is the life we lead between ignorance and knowledge. Love is the gratitude of finding. We were lucky to find ourselves in the presence of Brock. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah, and I am one of Brock's granddaughters, along with my sister, Kat. My mom asked me to share a story or talk about one of Granddad's sayings today. And while we all know that Granddad had many wise words, or a few, depending on the day, I wanted to instead talk about how he made me feel as his granddaughter. Granddad always remembered and always cared. Whether it was an interesting class on a topic he knew a lot about, such as AP European history, or simply a fun sorority event with our friends, he was always interested in our lives and wanted to know how we were doing. Granddad never let a visit go by without truly making us feel loved and thought of. One of my last memories that I will forever cherish is Granddad coming to my college graduation last year, thanks to Auntie Goobs, who drove him down to Nashville. Even though we had a jam-packed schedule with lots of events, Granddad never complained once. And that's the kind of person he is, just happy to be there with his loved ones. It's no surprise that Granddad will be my role model for the rest of my life. He showed me how to be thoughtful, how to care for others, and how to be genuine in today's world where these qualities can be harder to come across. I know that every single person in this room will agree when I say that to know Granddad is to love him. Thank you.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thou rod and thou staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Thank you so much for coming. It's so beautiful to look out and see everyone that loved my father. I want to thank my family and those of you who traveled far to be with him, and my wonderful mother and daughters and cousins and best friend. It's been amazing to celebrate his life. I especially want to thank this church where I grew up. It was a really important part of my life. I spent every Easter at sunrise service out in the parking lot, and I went to youth group every week, and it had such an important impact on my life. So I just want to thank Mr. Roller and Lynn Irvine and everybody here, Charlotte Baker, who made this happen. And it just brings me so much joy to see the church doing so well and to still look so incredibly beautiful. I also want to thank our soloist. I want to say that Amazing Grace was one of the songs that my dad would sing a cappella. He loved to travel, and he would often take us into caves in which I did not want to go because there were bats. And so bats would be kind of hanging around, and then Dad would suddenly break into Amazing Grace to calm me down. And oftentimes we were with other people, and I have to say it's one of the most beautiful memories I have with him. And so I want to thank you for that beautiful solo. It means so much to him. At the end of the service, we will be hearing another one of his favorite songs, Where the Circle Be Unbroken. So, thank you so much for coming. So what I would like to share today is one of my stories. As you'll see in the reception, we put a lot of photos there. We want everyone to come. Please take photos, take whatever you want from there. Infinity, pie, everything's important. In the cake, it has a university basketball times pi, 3.14, equals infinity. And that is how we think of my dad. And for this, I would like to share this story. So my dad didn't just think he always had the answer. My dad had the answer. When the game Trivial Pursuit came out, we made him go last because he would always win. I even heard that when he told me when living at the Willows that during trivia night he would hold back so others could participate. Yet the trivia DJ knew if no one answered, he could count on my dad. If Dad wasn't working on a math problem, he was reading a book, usually a book a day. He would stay up late until he finished that book. In my very rough, non-mathematical calculations, I estimate that he read at least 22,000 books. Dad loved to read, and he loved to travel. After I graduated from college, he invited me to climb the Annapurna Sanctuary in Nepal. It was a big ask. We both trained. Dad would walk the neighborhood, some of you may have seen him, with a backpack full of rocks. Then he would walk on to UK with the same backpack. I chose the easy route. I did swim training at the university. We arrived in Nepal. After a few days of walking through a basin, we started to gain altitude. One afternoon, we faced a very steep climb. Dad looked at me and said, "I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'll go ahead so I don't slow you down." We all made it to the top. I asked him, "How'd you do it, Dad?" He said, "Well, I recited Psalm 23, which my daughter just read. The Lord is my shepherd." He recited it over and over for an hour plus. That was the first time I had ever heard my dad say he might not make it. And it was the first time I heard of him praying. That night, we celebrated his 53rd birthday with a big plate of lentils and some dehydrated ice cream I had brought for the celebration. And we talked about life. I asked him again, as I had before, "Dad, do you believe in infinity?" And he said, "I don't know. Can we talk about this later?" The night was late, with that big celebration. We had to go sleep in a horse stable. And we had a long walk ahead of us the next day. Well, Dad, I hope you know the answer now about infinity and that you're living it as we celebrate you here on earth. Thank you.
There's a psalm that's become known as the Traveler's Psalm, or the song of pilgrimage and trust in God's constant protection. It's Psalm 121. "I will lift mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my strength? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Would you join me in the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. We're going to sing that song that Brock loved, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? And the words for the refrain are in your bulletin. And if you would join in on the refrain.
It's been so nice to be here with y'all and learn about Brock. He's like an amazing person. Christine asked me to learn this song to play for y'all. Of course, it's one that I've heard. I'm sure a lot of you have heard before. But when you actually go in and learn a song, it can be shocking sometimes, a song that you've heard a million times, what the words really say. So it was interesting to dig into this one and experience how sorrowful the lyrics of the verses are, and how uplifting and joyful the words of the chorus are, and just the theme of the circle. The song is a repeating circle, a cycle, and it reminded me so much of how grief is this cycle, where grief takes hold of you, and then you get released into joy, and then the grief returns and back into joy, and so you don't exit it like this, you exit it like this, and so I hope that there's nothing more joyful than singing together. So I hope you will join along with me in singing the chorus to the song. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day when I heard that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. I said to that undertaker, undertaker, please drive slow, for that lady you are hauling, well, I hate to see her go. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting Oh, I followed close behind her, try to hold up and be brave. But I could not hide my sorrow, and they laid her in the grave. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. I went back home, my home was lonesome. I missed my mother, she was gone. All my brothers, sisters crying, what a home so sad and alone. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. We sang the songs of our childhood, hymns of faith that made us strong. Songs that Mother Maybell taught us, and the angels sang along. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
The family would like to invite everyone to, in honor of Brock's support of LGBTQ people, in Pride Hall, just off here to the side, to enjoy some of Brock's favorite treats and a toast. Also, if you would like to pay respect to Brock's ashes, please feel free to do that after the family leaves. And if you would, allow the family to leave first, and then you can be dismissed too. Would you rise in body or spirit as I give you the charge and the blessing? Be kind, for this is the way of the Lord. And now, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make their face to shine upon you and be gracious. May the Lord turn their face toward you and give you peace. May the Lord pour out their Spirit all over you.